Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're mapping out all of human history in just 10 musical pieces.
Don't wanna be an American idiot.
Hurrian Hymn to Nikkal. Since its very beginnings, human history has been intertwined with music. In the earliest days, our ancestors relied on simpler melodies that had no relation to one another. However, there would eventually come a point where they began to unify, and it may have all started with just one song. Hurrian Hymn to Nikkal was one of several tunes notated in cuneiform by an anonymous author in what is now Syria. The lyrics are sung in praise to the Ugarit goddess of the same name, and are accompanied by a string instrument. Though technically unfinished, it's one of the most historically significant works of all time. Besides its unchallenged status as the world's oldest known musical work, its mere existence is proof of ancient cultures being more interconnected than we once thought. It was found that both the hymn and India's Rig Veda have similar rhythms and melodic patterns, implying that people have used pre-existing works as inspiration to create new ones since the art form's infancy. The similarities also suggest that our direct bonds with other people were perhaps originally based in culture, rather than more pragmatic forms of communication, such as trade or war. Tablet Age 6 is the foundation that art itself has been built upon, and it's hard not to see its influence in what followed. From ancient Assyria to Greece, slightly younger societies took those concepts and built onto them, officially creating a chain of artistic evolution that's still continuing on today.
Ano bhadrah kratavo yantu vishwataha.
Seikilos Epitaph. More than a millennium after the Hurrian Hymn had first been penned, we come upon another milestone. The Seikilos Epitaph, probably written in the 1st or 2nd century, is the oldest extant complete musical composition, all of it notated. The lyrical content of the piece is centered around honoring another person and their life, most likely someone that the author knew personally. This alone marks a difference between it and the songs of antiquity, which were normally focused on worshiping religious deities. This is one of the earliest known examples of known humans being honored by way of song, signifying a shift in how it was utilized. Some of the lines also reference the fleeting nature of life itself, implying that extreme philosophies like existentialism have always been a prominent aspect of the human condition. Beyond the poetry, the notation also marks a transition into more complex rhythm schemes from the days of old, with a then unusual 6/8 time signature. There's one more twist that could reshape the way we view artistic expression. There's one theory that claims the inscription doesn't come from a tomb, but is instead a visual proof of the artist's talents. Should that be proven to be true, it could mark one of the oldest known examples of music being created for the enjoyment of others. O Ignis, Spiritus, Paracliti.
Et gaudium vites as et honor fortissimum.
Throughout humanity's existence, one of the biggest inspirations for the music being created were the various religions that were prominent at the time. For Christians in the 12th century, O Ignis, Spiritus, Paracliti was one piece which conveyed a sense of deep worship. It was crafted by Hildegard of Bingen and highlights the reverence held by many for the deity during the Middle Ages, while also serving as a foundation for further religious works to build upon. She created metaphors by connecting the physical senses to the Holy Spirit, inspired by traditions of the time, but also putting her own unique stamp on them. Besides the song's contributions to theology, both it and her position in the Middle Ages have proven to hold both historical and musical significance. She was a champion of the monophonic sound, bringing about an accessible and universal melodic texture that is still being utilized in contemporary times.
O spiraculum sanctitatis.
Her success during a time of extreme patriarchal values and ostracization of women within the church is significant as well. Her work signals an early starting point of people utilizing music as a way of enacting change. Even if her motives weren't based in activism, her actions inadvertently paved the way for others throughout history to utilize it in protests of their own.
O iter fortissimum, quod penetravit omnia.
Tallis' Canon.
Glory to thee, my God, this night, for all the blessings of the light.
Religion's influence on music continued after the Middle Ages. Hundreds of years after Hildegard of Bingen's work, a new icon rose to prominence and created hymns that are still sung today in churches around the world.
Oh, may my soul on thee repose, and with sweet sleep mine eyelids close.
During Thomas Tallis' lifetime, two different factions within Christianity were at odds. This came to a head in England during the reign of King Edward VI, who completely upended the Catholic Church in favor of a Protestant one. With his Reformation came several rules, including a sudden deviation from the Latin language. Tallis had been employed by the royal family in order to compose pieces for this new era, leading to the creation of Tallis' Canon. With its simpler chordal structure and the use of English, it helped set a standard for worship songs for centuries to come. Rather than the complex layered melodies seen in Catholic works, this offered a simplified version that could be sung just as easily as it could be read. In doing so, he was able to keep himself safe during a time of religious prosecution. Despite seemingly complying with no pushback, he would find ways to inject small doses of traditional motets from his own religion, such as adapting Latin text to English. As leadership changed repeatedly along with the dominant religion, Tallis managed to write flawlessly for whatever style was required. Tallis' Canon is one of his better-known surviving works, serving as the perfect midway point between the lush traditional style and the straightforward modern one. La Marseillaise. Music and protest have often gone hand in hand. While it's present throughout most of history, one era that proves this theory tenfold is that of the Age of Revolution. It was a period defined by several countries rising up against those mistreating them, with one of the most well-known being the one that took place in France. One symptom of the French Revolution was a series of wars waged by nearby countries who feared extreme change being enacted in their own kingdoms. As a result, it was decided that a song had to be created to rally the troops into defending their home and their cause. Thus, La Marseillaise was born. The lyrics make their hatred for their oppressors known, calling for soldiers to fight back against them with everything they had. It quickly circulated throughout the faction, and within days became their rallying cry. It ended up becoming the country's first anthem a few years later in 1795, and though it was banned during Napoleon I's reign, it was reinstated in 1879. Since then, it's been played during times of strife and used as a protest song in other areas of the world, invigorating listeners centuries after being written. It's a perfect microcosm of a tumultuous era in 7 verses, capturing the desperate spirit of those determined not to be suppressed any longer. Beethoven's Symphony No. 5. Protest songs weren't the only art born from revolution. During times of extreme unrest, even the most unlikely pieces become cathartic in nature. One of the best examples is Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, a piece created during a time of war and occupation that were both led by Napoleon. The current turmoil he'd been living through and his reported support for the French Revolution may have had a hand in inspiring its tone. Those first 4 chords are the definition of bombastic, mirroring the chaos happening in the world around him. The intensity doesn't decrease for a single moment, and though there are no lyrics, it feels like a response to the cataclysmic events that have been occurring at the time. Its importance and impact lies beyond its historical context. Musically, it signals the shift from the classical period to the romantic one. Where the former was characterized by rigid adherence to technical perfection, the latter allowed for genuine emotion within the piece. The symphony is a perfect combination of the two, serving as a perfect midpoint during the transition. Its use of certain brass and wood instruments were a spark of innovation that forever changed their orchestral roles. It also shows how tensions from the real world can impact the popular sound at the time, proving how deeply intertwined music and the zeitgeist truly are. The Hand-Loom Weaver's Lament.
And now, my lads, for to conclude, it's time to make an end. Let's see if we can form a plan that these bad times will mend.
Though the Industrial Revolution undoubtedly served as a stepping stone to the modern conveniences we have today, it didn't come without the subjugation of the working man. The hardships felt by the less fortunate are well detailed in the Hand-Loom Weaver's Lament from around 1810. At the time, those working in that profession found themselves being phased out by machines that could perform the labor for them at a quicker pace and lower price. Their pay plummeted as a result, and any attempts to protest this were met with violence. The response was a righteously angry song, lambasting those in power.
You tyrants of England, your race may soon be run. You may be brought into account for what you've sorely done.
They spared no expense, dragging the elites for stripping them of their pay, enabling conditions that allowed adults and children alike to starve, and using the Napoleonic Wars as an excuse for it all. It's angry throughout, but does have one slight glimmer of hope at the end, a call to rise up and take care of the problem themselves.
You tyrants of England, your race may soon be run. You may be brought into account for what you've sorely done.
The piece ended up ringing true about 15 years later in 1826, when hand-loom weavers rose up to protest and destroy the very machines that had taken their livelihoods from them. The song has a folk sound, which will remain a staple of activism-based music well into the present day. It signaled the dark underbelly of the continued technological progress, with similar poor working conditions appearing around the world with its introduction.
And now, my lads, for to conclude, it's time to make an end. Let's see if we can form a plan that these bad times may mend.
March of the Volunteers. In times of immense strife, unity among citizens is all some people have to rely on. Throughout the 1930s, citizens of China found themselves under attack by Japanese forces. It began with the occupation of Manchuria in 1931, which spiraled into a full-on war that found that same populace being subjugated to horrific crimes against humanity. In 1935, a poem written by Tian Han the year beforehand was set to music and featured in the film Children of the Troubled Times. It served as a rallying cry for those tired of being made to feel terrified in their own homes. March of the Volunteers both honors those already putting their lives on the line to stand up to the oppressors in their country and encourages others to stand up and do the same. Crowds were heard all over the country singing it, signaling that they wouldn't stand down, even in the face of imminent danger. It gained traction throughout World War II, and by the end of 1941, it was being broadcast all over the world. The protest song became China's anthem, only for it to be stifled by their post-occupancy leader, Mao Zedong. He imprisoned its author and banned the piece as written. It wasn't until his own passing that it could be reinstated in 1982. Since then, it remains their anthem and a reminder of how they and most of the world were truly united, even if for just a moment. Strange fruit.
There's strange fruit.
A country allowing its citizens to attack others with impunity is shameful. Yet, leaders in the United States did little as primarily African-American citizens were targeted, brutalized, and often killed by racists. The first reports go back at least to the 1830s, and after a century, thousands had been victimized.
The crowd gathered at the Ed Johnson Memorial to remember his life. Johnson was brutally murdered and then hanged on the Walnut Street Bridge by a mob.
This left it up to artists to make the issue known. In the late 1930s, the protest poem, Strange Fruit, was set to music, and Billie Holiday began singing it at the end of her live performances.
The bulging eyes and the twisted mouth.
She recorded it as its own track in 1939, and it slowly rose to prominence. All over the country, people were met with haunting lyrics describing the visceral scenes left behind after a violent lynching had taken place.
Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze.
Despite the heavy subject matter, it still sold over 1 million units. It was proof that people all over the country didn't support the twisted vigilante violence taking place. Unfortunately, it also highlighted the hatred felt by others. Holiday was relentlessly targeted by Harry Anslinger, the leader of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics. He didn't stop until she'd been entrapped, arrested, and banned from performing in nightclubs. Meanwhile, the lynchings continued, including that of teenager Emmett Till in 1955. The last recorded incident occurred in 1981, but an act criminalizing the behavior wouldn't pass until 2022. The song has remained a beacon through it all, acting as a reminder of the country's not-so-distant past.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
We didn't start the fire.
Harry Truman, Doris Day, Red China, Johnny Ray, South Pacific, Walter Winchell, Joe DiMaggio.
With all the advancements made over the last century, it can be hard to keep up with the rapid changes in pop culture and geopolitics. Luckily, Billy Joel was able to map most of it out for us in less than 5 minutes. In that span of time, We Didn't Start the Fire covers many major events, celebrities, and trends that received national attention from 1949 to 1989.
What else do I have to say? We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world returned.
Some may just remember the movies and stars that are referenced, but don't be fooled. This piece has much more to offer. Beneath the upbeat production and line delivery lies a dark undercurrent revealing the pain and strife that occurred within that 4-decade window. Between mentions of Hollywood stars and popular toys are that of violent conflicts like the war in Vietnam and epidemics like the AIDS crisis.
AIDS crack, Bernie gets hypodermics on the shore. China's under martial law. Rock and roller cola wars. I can't take it anymore.
It also makes mention of citizens from Hungary to South Korea coming together and attempting to protest their oppressive governments, shining a spotlight on issues that would have otherwise gone unnoticed in the long run.
Bacon, Reagan, Palestine, terror on the airline, Ayatollahs in Iran, Russians in Afghanistan.
Immortalizing these events by way of song has ensured that they won't merely slip through the cracks of the public's memory and be lost for good. Musically, it marks a complete evolution from where it all began with the Hurrian Hymn. What was once a simple lyre and melody honoring a deity has branched out into a complex, multi-instrument, highly produced bop bursting at the seams with people, places, and things that hadn't even been conceptualized.
We didn't start the fire that was always burning since the world's been turning.
What song do you think captures a perfect snapshot of human history? Let us know in the comments below.